Hey everybody, I am Josh Olive with Haven Comics. It's Thursday night, which must mean it's time for Shop Talk. So we are going to go live here in just a second. Stick around with us after this intro, and we got a lot of fun things to talk about tonight. If you're still around, I'm still Josh Olive, and this is still Haven Comics, so you're in the right place. Um, and I do want to say I have to, before we launch into the rest of it, I have a little bit of housekeeping to take care of for tonight because we were just voted the number one craft or hobby store in the state of Alabama. So that's awesome. Well done, you guys. Yeah, I know for a fact there are other stores in Alabama that are bigger than we are, that have more inventory than we have, that are better in a whole lot of respects. So I don't exactly, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid here. But what I will say, and I think this is absolutely true, is our community is clearly number one. You guys nominated us for this because this is totally a fan nominated thing. So thank you for that. And then you guys voted for it. And I would put the Haven community up against anybody and dare them to find somebody that's better than our folks. So thank you guys. This is all thanks to you. We appreciate that. But yes, for 2025, Haven Comics, it's the weirdest thing, is the number one craft or hobby store in the state of Alabama, according to the Guide to Alabama. So you guys are awesome. Thank y'all for that. Let's see who we got in the house real quick. We got Hunter Williams checking in. Hey, what's happening? Hope everything's going well. We got Tots. Good to see you, Tots. Bill. What's up, Bill? Boy, Bill, are you in the right place tonight? You want to talk some G.I. Joe? You want to talk some Disavowed? You're in the right spot, and I know that that's your kind of thing. And James is here. What's up, James? Hope everything is going well. Matt Posey's in the house, man. Folks are jumping on. This is great. Glad to see you guys. So, Alan may or may not show up. He is currently on vacation against his will. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but he's stuck at the beach, which is the last place he wants to be. He hates the beach, and he's trying to see if he can get back to the hotel room and dial in and claim that he has responsibility so he can get away from, laying on the beach and cooking in his own grease. But with or without Alan, we've got a great show tonight because we have a special guest. He's been on the show before. It's been a little bit, but we have talked all kinds of things. We've talked prehistoric civilizations. We have talked like conspiracy theories about how things were built and where they came from and all kinds of stuff. But the big thing that we talk about is G.I. Joe. And so we will introduce Mr. Josh Blaylock, writer of G.I. Joe, great comic book creator for a long time, and creator of The Disavowed.
Hello.
How's it going, man?
Great, man.
That Devil's Due logo behind you is sweet, by the way.
Yeah. It's not a green screen either.
Hey, even better. I remember the old school Devil's Due logos, how they kind of evolved a little bit over time. I got to say, I like this one quite a lot.
Yeah, it morphs about every 5 years. I just sold, I did I was clearing out a lot of old stuff and archives.
Yeah.
And this guy, Joe collector Dave Peiniger, just bought one of our oldest signs we have. It was like the original logo with the circular, said "Pop culture is our culture," our old motto. And it was so that's now in his possession.
Fantastic. That's great. What else have you got in the old archives you want to get rid of?
Oh man, I've been actually we were moving a lot of comics and stuff out. I pulled out my forever boxes of what I want to keep, and then we've done a whatnot stream, and I had a couple of retailers came by, so I'm clearing out a lot of stuff. So I'm almost down to the last few boxes.
What G.I. Joe stuff you got in there? I know you got to have a little bit left.
Yeah, it's a crazy mix of different stuff. So think I'm kind of like I'm I'm honestly like almost like an anti-collector. I'm a terrible collector. Um, I tend to purge things too often, and but I think the one thing I'm working on actually focusing in on as a collection will just be when it comes to like Joe stuff. Will be like the set of the comics, and then like anything. If I had something to do with creating the toy, like that awesome figure back there, yeah,
I know you're sitting on a pile of
those are the
Kamakura,
things
right?
I want. Yeah.
Got it.
Actually, funny enough, I can't really say what this is for yet, but I just got commissioned to draw this for something, and
Oh
so
man,
yeah,
that's
not an
awesome.
official
Yeah,
comic thing, but
I,
yeah.
I keep I keep him in a spot where I can get to him real fast and easy because I really like this one.
Isn't he just the best ninja figure ever? Like they did
I'll be
such a good job with that.
They really did, in a host of reasons. The articulation really works. Some of them have blocky bits that keep the knee from bending all the way back or keep the ankles from moving very well. And he's just built really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, and that one really made me happy because I mean they pretty much literally took my design
Oh yeah,
and
I'm
just
gonna make everybody dizzy real quick and show
into the
them the
toy.
the dreadnoks here. Let's see. So we got the dreadnoks,
Those toys are so damn good.
and then Zartan is way up here. But I need a Zanya down here. I mean, Monkey Wrench is coming out soon, but I need a Zanya. So if you've got any pullover in Hasbro, uh,
I have zero pool. And I'm not sure they know who I am, but I do have an awesome Zanya custom that somebody gave me. It's pretty cool. I actually have a couple of them, so I hang on to those. And but so far, yeah, the only official toy they made of her was in that Dreadnought set of the 3 3/4.
yep.
She's like a little too skinny. She looks like she's needs some nourishment.
She was kind of on the skinny side. Some of the sculpts on the women, I don't know, they're really trying real hard to make them have the figure they want, so they make them super super tiny and skinny, and then they just look all spindly, and it doesn't really work very well. Um, got it. Appreciate that. Thank you. Um, and I see you got a comment up there about Deceased and Devil's Reign as well, both of which were very very good. So yeah, we can talk about those in a bit. But while we've got Josh here, if you guys remember the last time he was on, and it's cool if you don't because it's been a while, uh, we talked about a book called The Disavowed that he's got coming out. It's take G.I. Joe if it was created, say, today instead of in the 80s around a toy line and mix it with like all of the things that made 80s movies awesome, right? You've got the gratuitous explosions and blood and guts and uh, all those things, and that's if I'm understanding correctly, that's the Disavowed. Is that right?
Yeah, it is the story of a team that actually did exist in the 80s, and sort of the Disavowed refers to former members of both like the quote unquote good guys and bad guys who are actually working together to this day. And we're all dealing with the ramifications of these things having existed back then. So the teams were formed in the 80s were the United Five,
Yep.
which was formed outside of the government by government funded corporations to uh, tackle an esoteric cult turned eccentric terrorist called Komodo. And so the United Five versus Komodo goes down. I sort of throw you into like their last climactic battle in the intro of the series, and we really focus on the son of one of the late members of the team and how he discovers in the late 90s that this existed and sort of becomes obsessed with it, and he has to find out, you know, was this real, and the internet's taken off, and so it's harder to keep secrets. And right there with like Area 51 conspiracies is this whole thing about the United Five and guys with like AK-47s and Berettas that shot lasers and all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't exist anymore, and no one will talk about it. And um, so then we cut to the present day where he's actually a member of the team now, of the current incarnation, and we find out like what really went down. And it's just
I love everything about that. I love you've got the like GI Joe style action. You've got the mystery and suspense, the intrigue. You've got the edges of conspiracy theories, things that were it did exist, but now they don't, or do they? I love that combination. That's a killer combo.
awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to tap into like like stuff like that's what I hopefully surprises people later is like I'm really honing in on some current stuff. But like it's seeded this backdrop of this absurd, over the top, like 80s nostalgia love. So like working on a couple different levels, but it's obviously like this is to GI Joe what Watchmen is to Justice League, what Rick and Morty is to Doc and Marty, and anything, pick your thing.
Yeah,
Um, but it is a deconstruction though. It's not just like my excuse to do like violent GI Joe. It's but it is going to be no restrictions. It's like off the wall violent and debaucherous, and I can have fun with that. And the it's also just as much a love letter to just like 80s action movies and
yeah.
military action and Rambo type of movies and ninja movies and all this crazy shit we watched as kids that we had no business watching. But
Now
the
you
video
say that,
theme,
and I don't know why, man, but I have been on a kick for the past like 3 or 4 weeks of watching '80s ninja movies.
dude, my friend Jason Jason Deichler owns a coffee shop in town called The Brood, and
Sweet,
his coffee they do a lot of cooperation with Music Box Theater here
yeah,
in town, and they did a screening of Ninja 3: The Domination.
fantastic.
And like 300 people showed up. It was fantastic, and they gave out. If anyone's seen the movie,
Yeah, yeah.
it's perfect. Otherwise, it'll make no sense though.
I just watched it like 4 days ago.
They gave out cans of V8.
Oh no!
I'm not gonna explain that. I just go watch the show, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh my god, that's fantastic. But yeah, like the past 2 3 weeks, I've been on an '80s ninja movie kick, and it has been great. I'm just like, oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember that scene.
And we still don't know what happened in Ninja 1 and 2.
Right? Yeah, no idea. But American Ninja, and like the bad guy ninja sporting this big mustache and all this, and you're like, what? You can't do that. But yeah, you can. It was the '80s. You could do what you wanted.
And that's where like you see like in reality a lot of elements of GI Joe I think were sort of affected by all of that. That's sort of it was all I don't know, it all blurred together. But so instead of trying to modernize this team and recreate some other parody or something that would like bring them into the current era, I just went the other way and said, look, those guys are in and of their time. And that's and I'm just going to double down on that. So then in the present day, things can resonate more with current topics and then bring it together. So you do have the clash of that. So on one level, you have the absurdity, but also we do have sort of playing with the idea that these things like literally won't die, like the nostalgia won't die.
Yeah.
At the same time, like people in power today won't die or won't let go.
Yeah.
And just there's a lot of good parallel themes that allow me to have fun with stuff and at the same time address current topics.
Well, I got to tell you, I think the two-way approach that you're coming at this is just so smart to me, because you can tell as many stories as you want that are flashbacks, or you remember this mission, that mission, or he can find a new file and you can kind of see it through his eyes as he's reading the after action report or whatever, right? So you've got all this leeway to tell stories back forever, but you've also got this meta plot of him resolving this mystery and figuring these things out, and the story proceeding forward as well. So you've got that kind of generational storytelling that you can do within the pages of the one book, and I think that's just brilliant. That was a great concept.
Thanks. Yeah, it's I kind of was inspired by thinking like, how would you, if you had to like bring that back, today, like how would you do it? Because it's been, you know, the farther we get away from that era without, without a revamp, um, you know, the harder it becomes to do that. And at the same time, the love for 80s nostalgia just keeps like holding strong.
Oh yeah.
So it's almost like, why are you trying to update that? Um, that's kind of what inspired that. And yeah, we're gonna have fun. And that means that there was stuff going on in the 90s, there was stuff going on in the 2000s, and you know, it's like too irresistible not to make fun of some of that stuff too.
Oh
And then
yeah.
we'll have um but the way we're treating it, like marketing wise, is like kind of like a Mandela effect, where this was something else in the in the 80s. You just that you were like, oh, I remember that now. Like pretending it really always existed. So the story itself takes itself seriously, but I mean, we can have letters columns, and I have PSAs and um, all kinds of stuff, just to sort of like continue on with people going to have fun with it after they read each issue.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. And you had a guy in there, and I'm trying to remember what his, because people were calling him a name, and it was something like with gung ho. It was making some. What was that? Do you remember?
Oh yeah, yeah. Kind of like got the nickname Gung Hogan, but
Gung Hogan. That was it. Because he
the
looks
Wall.
like.
His name is he's the Wall.
Yeah, because he looks like Hulk Hogan. That was it.
He's the
Gung,
Wall, and he's best friends with Chef.
Gung Hogan. That's hilarious. What Daniel Majors in the house. Well, we also are at that age now where we have discretionary funds, right?
Yeah.
So we can afford to go back and buy our youth back from That's why I continue to read GI Joe, and I continue to have new versions of action figures I already have. Right?
I mean, yeah, you know what? I come to this whole full circle realization that we're just never going to stop buying this stuff. Like,
No,
the concern used to be like, how do you keep up with the newer stuff? There's millions of kids coming in reading manga and everything, and how do you keep up with that? And what but then it's like, well, that used to be a concern because people dropped off and stopped entertaining themselves with childish things. And it's like, sorry, we're here. We're when we're 79 years old, we're going to be wanting the AI, the Optimus Prime version of like the AI robot in the house to help us out.
yeah, I'm still going to want Larry Hama to keep writing the GI Joe title.
Yeah.
Which is a horribly selfish thing to say. I hope he gets to do whatever he wants to do, but yeah, you're not wrong. I do find it funny because I'm noticing in the folks online who talk about, say, the GI Joe classified figures, for example, that they want to buy all the ones they had when they were a kid, and maybe that one or two or three that they missed out on, they wanted to get and never were able to, but they hit the same point that when they were a kid, and they're like, oh, I don't care about these are dumb. And it's the same point in the phase, the evolution of these characters, where they hit that point, and I just think that's really amusing. I'm like, it's all the same ones. You just want your nostalgia, period, and none of the extra stuff.
Kind of what's happening with those classified toys is how we felt when McFarlane toys first came out.
Yeah.
But Hasbro never really got it together to just pull that off. So what's happening in the toys is kind of like what we did in the early 2000s, where then it was just about the badassification of these old brands.
Mm-hmm.
And you wanted to bring them back the way that they were in your memory, not necessarily the way they actually were.
Yes.
And just a little bit more edgy beyond that. So and GI Joe was one where it was a lot closer to reality in your memory. Like it held up versus some other brands, some other cartoons and stuff you go back and watch and you're like, whoa, what was going on here? But now it's like they're just now doing that with the toys now.
Yes.
Whereas in comics, it's kind of, we've already had 20 years of that
Yep.
15 years of that. So now things don't have to take themselves as seriously. They can be a little more fun because we've already been there and done that with the whole, badass seriousness. So now that's why like what Skybound's doing with GI Joe is so good, like being received so well, because now you can play with Cobra La and you can be a little more sci-fi and people have fun with it. So
Well, you can
we
do
have done that
both,
20
right?
years ago. I would be
They've
pissed.
got Larry Hama doing the original recipe GI Joe, and that just continues.
Yeah.
And then they're doing whatever the heck they want to do over here in the Energon universe. So they make both camps happy, and they create this third camp that's like, cool, I get my cake and I eat it too. I'm going to read both, which is me very much so.
Yeah.
Like I love the Cobra Commander in the Energon universe take on Cobra Commander. I don't care for the Cobra Law stuff, but I see how it fits into the overall Energon universe because it's the sci-fi weirdness with the Void Rivals, and then also with Transformers, and Cybertron is this all metal robot planet, and Cobra Law is all organic, no metal. Get rid of that. So there's natural enemies there. But Cobra Commander is such a calculating, scheming freakazoid of a guy that he's always hitting, and he's not scared of anything. As it's such a far cry from retreat, retreat, Cobra. You're like, okay, I really like this Cobra Commander. But Ben Schroer is asking, what are our favorite figures in comic? Do you have a favorite among the figures besides Kamakura, of course?
I don't have too many of them, but I just see them all like go to the cons and stuff. And I do love the Prophet Director Destro. He's pretty
Oh,
cool.
that is great.
I have him. Actually, I had to buy the barbecue because he was like one of my absolute favorites as a kid. So I've got him over here, and then you know what just jumped out at me, and same reason I liked him as a kid was Outback. I don't know why I loved Outback so much. He's so simple. I bought the one where he's got like a
you got him with the Night Force with the white hair and all that.
white hair, and and he's
I got the regular version.
I'm not. Yeah, it just looks super cool.
He's awesome. He's always
I had to
been
buy
awesome.
the other version because I'm not really a sports guy, but my family is all about Cincinnati Bengals, and he has the tiger on him, so I was like, look, here's a GI Joe for you, but then I cup him.
You said Outback was a favorite, and you instantly made Daniel Major a happy guy. He loves Outback. He's upset that Outback doesn't get more airtime in the comics, and he's right.
But
Outback for the win. Yeah. Beans, good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hope everything is going well.
But so I hope like what I want to do with this is like clearly like for something like this to exist for a long time, like it's got to clearly show that it's its own thing, once you get the little joke across the novelty. So I think by the end of the first issue that hits the stores, definitely in the second issue, it'll be like, okay, this is something different. But at the same time, if fatigue is hitting you from all the other 80s-ness out on the shelves, that this is also like a nice little escape where you kind of get that fix, but at the same time, it's a fresh, clean start.
I don't think the 80s nostalgia shows zero hints of slowing down right now. I mean, the GI Joe Kickstarter they did for the hardback set, the omnibuses or whatever compendiums, was $3.2 million, and the Transformers one they just did, I'm a little bit surprised. Yeah, beat that. With lessons learned from the GI Joe one. Oh, we just lost Josh Blaylock. He'll be back on in a sec. But no, fantastic. If you are okay, so going back to your question, Ben, about what figure do I like best? Just one is hard. I love original recipe Snake Eyes, the Commando. Before we knew that he was a ninja, but version 2 Snake Eyes, which I still have in the box, is my favorite. But yeah, original recipe Commando Snake
Right.
Eyes, absolutely one of my favorites. Uh, I've always liked him, and I keep him out front and center. And I have the version 2 Snake Eyes with the visor and all that.
I
Uh, I,
disappeared there for about 30 seconds.
yeah, yeah. I was just filling the time by going back and answering the question of which of the figures do I like best. I gotta say, one of my favorites is a recent release. I always liked this figure in the 3 3/4, but if you haven't seen it, the Xandar figure is awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, he is awesome in every respect. That is a well
They actually
crafted
somehow made him
figure.
look threatening while keeping his true look.
It's exactly right. They managed to get it right, which was a hard thing to do. I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off. And they did very, very well. I mean, and he's got the tattoos. That's the thing they figured out how to do on the dreadnoks or these guys. A
Yeah.
lot of them have fairly intricate tattoos.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
great. And the details nuts.
and you notice he's got the metal on one boot, but not the other. You know, that's his kicking boot. Yeah. So it's clear he's going to fight dirty and he's going to win. But I always liked Xandar. He never got a whole lot of screen time, really, uh, which was unfortunate. But I don't know. I've always liked the Dreadnoks in general. I thought they were great. Um,
Yeah,
so
they were always fun to write.
well, they are making some of the 3 3/4 inch figures. It's just they're different. It's weird. I don't know why they don't just remake the originals because they're not updating the technology at all. The figures are designed to look as much like they came from the 80s as possible. So a better question, maybe a fun one for you: any GI Joe character from canon, be that the original recipe GI Joe, be it Devil's Due GI Joe, declassified, any of those. Is there a character that you always wanted to see get an honest to God real figure that has not had a figure made?
I mean,
I only ask because I have an answer for that.
selfishly, I do have to say Zanya. Um,
Fair enough. Yeah.
but but I want the Tim Bradstreet Cobra Commander.
Oh my God. Yes, that would be spectacular. The Tim Bradstreet Cover Commander is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, if you Google, if anyone hasn't seen that, just look up GI Joe Cobra Reborn.
Yes.
As a
Which is
one-shot
also,
prelude to our Reloaded like alternate reboot, and it's just he's wearing sort of like a trench coat, just with the hood. It's like that, and that issue is like that's what the movie should be. There should be a movie called Cobra Commander, and it's just that story by Paul Jenkins.
well, that story is one of my all time favorite single issues of G.I. Joe anywhere ever. Paul Jenkins absolutely rocked that because he made Cobra Commander somebody who you could sympathize with. He wasn't I'm an evil terrorist, wah ha ha ha. He was a patriot who thought that the country had gone to hell, so he was going to fix it by God. And he was very charismatic. He was very cunning. And he was just ruthless and did things the wrong way. It's like if he could have turned and pivoted to do it the right way, he would have been this incredible guy. But as it was, he was horrifyingly evil, but you kind of got it. You could understand it. And we had Paul Jenkins on the show and talked to him about that issue at length because I was just like, why did you do that to me? Why did you make Cobra Commander somebody that I could, for even an instant, go, I could follow that guy?
That was
Like,
yeah. That's always you're supposed. I always felt like it's supposed to. He should be the kind of guy where if he can get you alone in a room for like 10 minutes, he can mess with your head. Like you walk out being like, "Oh, he makes some good points."
exactly. Yes. And that was one of my single all time favorite issues of G.I. Joe. That exact issue there for that reason. It was so powerful, and I can't believe it's just like $5 on eBay or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If anybody has not read it, go forth and purchase it. You should read it. It is a must read.
So that figure, and then probably the Alexander McCullen version of Destro
Oh, yeah.
from the
Yeah.
earlier issues.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That would be great.
Just gothed out, kind of like chunky boots, like early 2000s version of
Yeah,
Dusty.
I knew you would have good answers to that. Uh, the one I always wanted, and they kind of came out with one for it's one of those specialist things you could only get it if you went to Joe Fest or something, and or you could get the little crappy one they made with Super Seven. I hate those things. They're like the old Star Wars figures with just they don't have any none of
Oh,
this, no knee bends,
not
no
the
nothing.
cartoon ones, right?
Yeah, I don't care for them. But the figure I have always wanted is Quinn. I've always wanted Quinn.
Oh yeah,
And just because he died, like no figure for you. I'm like, come on, man. There was
that's
never a Doctor Venom figure either, for that matter.
that's a deep cut, but like these days they're making everything else. Like they could
They,
totally. Yeah.
I
There's
mean,
got to there's got to be some 3D printed Quins out there.
when they're making Shooter and they're making what's her face that came with the Dragonfly, who appeared in like one comic in 3 panels or something before she died. But they
Wow,
make
I'm
her
totally
right.
blanking. Yeah,
Yeah. But give me a Quinn figure for the love of all things holy.
I've got my pilot guy in the Disavowed, whose name is Yellowstone.
Oh, nice.
He's a it's a Shinoshi tribe native who's a little bit of a country boy. So
Oh,
he happens and he's a pilot. So
see, I just went back. In addition to my ninja movie kick from the '80s, I've watched. I just watched We Were Soldiers. Have you ever seen that one?
I haven't.
It's uh, a ton of actors you would recognize are in that movie. Mel Gibson, Sam Elliott, Greg Kinnear, John Hamm was very young. Um, it's a Vietnam movie. Um,
Surprised I haven't seen it.
it's I want to say it's on Paramount Plus, maybe if you have that one. But I'm sure you can get it on Amazon too. But it's a difficult movie to watch. It's a very powerful movie to watch, and it's rough. The issue I said you have to go on and look for it. It's Cobra Reborn. If you look up Cobra Reborn, you'll find it. Written by Paul Jenkins. Uh, that's a must read. It's phenomenal, and the cover will absolutely knock you off your feet. That Cobra Commander, you're like, all right, Darth Vader, move over. This dude is awesome. Uh, just fantastic. But yeah, I watched that, and when you watch that, you can get a real sense. You can see all those scenes, um, like in the helicopter where you've got Stalker and Tommy, and you got Snake Eyes, and my face. You can
Yeah.
see all of that. Uh, all those elements are there. It's very easy to picture it, and you're like, okay, that's yeah, that hits real close, real hard. 2004 sounds about right. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
yeah. So that book's old enough to drink now. How weird does that feel?
Yeah. No.
Man, you've been doing comics for a long time.
It'll be 30 years in March, like next year. My
You don't
first
seem.
self-published book came out in March of 1996.
What book was that?
It was called Minotaur. I
Minotaur.
just found. Actually, I literally have it on my desk. I found
Oh,
my
rock
old
on.
business card, which was Labyrinth Studios.
Hang on, we're gonna embiggen you here.
It was called Labyrinth Studios, and yeah, I just more of like impatience than anything else, wanting to like be in the comic book world, and like I had a couple of gigs lined up, and then I had a publishing deal lined up before high school was over, and then it all fell through, and I said, well, I'm just going to publish it myself, and I've been so obsessive about it. I've talked to a number of publishers about, how do you get your books through the distributors, and I got it through Diamond and Capital, and it
Capital back in the day. Wow.
yeah, and it went it got out, and yeah, we got. I don't remember what the orders were, but I want to think it was like 2,000 or 3,000 copies to start.
It's not bad.
Black and white book, and back then you had to print at least like 3,000 copies
Yeah.
just because printing was a way different price point and everything else. But
Yep.
and the book sold for probably like 250 or something like that, and that led to another series, which is like more of like a anthropomorphic, like punk rock ska zine kind of a comic called Penguin Brothers, where I would
I was
interview
about to
bands like
say, yeah, I was going to ask you a minute ago, when was the last time you worked with penguins?
that. And that got a lot of good like reviews and stuff. I got a little write up in Wizard magazine and a couple other magazines at the time, and was pretty hot in the indie circuit and distributed nationally. And um, it was wild because back then you got handwritten fan mail too. Like, so I put out Minotaur, a complete unknown creator, and I'm getting handwritten fan mail from like London and just different countries and all over the United States. It was
Now,
pretty
what was
cool.
Minotaur about?
Minotaur was this guy, Alexander Crane, discovered that the ancient labyrinth from Greek mythology was actually real. Huge archaeological discovery, and then he actually unearths a demon. The Minotaur was actually like a demon that was trapped in there, not that's like not just this monster. So it possesses him and starts to take over his body, and he starts to turn into the demon, and then or it's trying to like physically make his form take its form. So he turns into this big like hulking horn monster dude, and then eventually, so that got rebooted and completely changed several years later as the book called Core,
I remember
which
Core.
where we couldn't use Minotaur. We were Image Comics then, and Tim Seeley drew it and helped co-plot it with me. And Tim did fucking just awesome art on it, and brought back a lot of the exact same characters, just tweaked it and made it more about like it was that same story, but we couldn't use Minotaur because Top Cow had an imprint called Minotaur Press.
Yes, I remember that
So we
too.
called it Core, short for Manticore, and also added the element that when this guy turns into this monster, he is thrust into another world called Abaddon, which is a world powered by magic. And on Earth, um, like we are sitting on stockpiles of magic, but we don't know how to tap it. We can't naturally just tap it. And this other realm is running out of it, and their whole technology and their whole society evolved from it. So, but in the middle of it, it's an excuse to have a big, giant, cool-looking monster dude just messing shit up. And
Yeah.
there was like a little sassy sprite who was in a like a little fairy that was like an assassin. And but yeah, it was a lot of fun. And but that book's been, man, that hasn't been out in like 20 years. I don't even own the rights to that anymore.
Really?
So yeah, then that Penguin Brothers led to a book I was doing called Misplaced, black and white book. And then right around that time, the G.I. Joe license looked like it was about to possibly happen, and it did. So I put out 3 issues of Misplaced myself through Devil's Due while preparing for G.I. Joe to come out as Devil's Due Studio through Image. And then once Joe was a hit and took over my life and all the 80s stuff kicked off, then I rebooted Core and Misplaced, and redid Misplaced as a new color series. Misplaced, that kept the story almost exactly the same. Just George Lucas did made it better in my mind.
More explosions.
Yeah, but yeah, then just the 80s stuff. Like by then we had the Joe Transformers crossover license, and we had the Micronauts license, and Voltron, and then other stuff, and just, yeah, it just so
I believe the only GI Joe Transformers crossover I really ever cared for was the one that I think you guys did it. Was it the one with Jay Lee and John Day Ryber?
no, that was the Dreamwave.
Was that Dreamwave?
That was the really cool, really trippy one.
That kind of World War II vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I never liked GI Joe and Transformers together very well. It was not like peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and chocolate. It just never worked for me.
I like it in the
that
sense of an
particular one
alternate.
worked.
I like when I did mine. I wanted it to be like a tentpole popcorn summer blockbuster type of a film. Like that's what I wanted to feel like. So it was Cobra finds the Transformers on the Ark before they wake up. That's the hook. And then
which is perfect.
and the ads were like Optimus Prime, but you could tell he was a Cobra Hiss tank, and it said a new kind of battle android trooper, and that was like a teaser. And then Mike Norton, who worked for us at the time, designed the Cobra Decepticon logo together, which has become pretty iconic. If you've seen that on
yes, it
Shrek
has.
Forever,
It's
that's where that came
phenomenal.
from.
Okay.
And then yeah, they just so the world meets the Transformers by them Cobra vehicles transforming into them, and the story goes from there. So, but as far as the actual continuity, like long term goes, it's that's why I didn't put giant robots in my new book yet, or if I ever will.
Right, like, and if you look at things like the Energon universe, it really quickly for me becomes at the point where you have ginormous robots. How meaningful can the GI Joe characters be?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like you can't having them in that universe just completely just devalues the power of the Joes. Like you just step on them, squash them, they're done. The only way
I'm
you
a
can make it
ninja.
work,
Oh, sorry.
yeah. I mean, the only way you can make it work is if there's something makes them have a limited presence on Earth, and they truly have to be robots in disguise, and they can't go beyond a certain level here, and that's pretty much like it. Or we have some sort of like nuclear option to stop them, and then you'd have to focus more on their cosmic adventures, like sci-fi soap opera kind of stuff. Otherwise, yeah, just the Joes aren't as cool when like they can constantly just be smited by these.
Right, it's just eradicated with a footstep, and you're like, well, that's okay.
Yeah, but so like I do like the sci-fi. Like I mean, I'm having fun. I'm definitely getting a little sci-fi with the Disavowed, which is going to play into some of it more
Now,
grounded science possibly than what seems, it might seem fake, but a lot of it's based on real stuff too.
so I have to ask because just knowing,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just say I got a shameless shout out while you're listening. Go to disavowedcomic.com.
Yes.
And I made it really easy because I can point this domain later, but right now I just go straight to the Kickstarter pre-launch page. So
disavowedcomic.com.
After waiting a year since we announced it and released the Ash Can at San Diego Comic-Con last July, I've been waiting for the Massive to announce it. And
is
now
that right?
Officially
in the comment there.
Yep. And this Tuesday it's going off. So issue number 1 is going to be live. So we can talk about that, whatever. We can go back. I just wanted to.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. That's where I was headed, but we'll just shift over to it now. You guys have heard what he's been saying. You've heard how he's been describing this book, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be watching this after the fact because the metrics bear that out. Like 85% of our listeners are after the live show. I don't know why that is, but that's what they do. Jump over to disavowedcomic.com, pre-register for the Kickstarter. You need to get this book. If you're a G.I. Joe fan of any stripe, if you love the movie Predator, if you love the movie Commando, if you love First Blood, if you love Highlander, if you love all that stuff, go get this comic. You will not regret it. I've read the Ash Can several times. I've got multiple copies. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. It's a lot of fun. It's like G.I. Joe turned to 11 in a lot of ways. It's the 80s is like pumping through its veins real hard. You can feel it in all the best ways possible. It's a great book. So yeah, jump over there and do it. We're trying to get to at least 500 pre-registers before Tuesday when the book goes live. So get over there and do it. Show people that they need to be getting onto it too. Feel free to share it out. Do all that stuff. Let people know because it's awesome.
Yeah, we're just under 250. My self-imposed goal is 500.
See, that's a minimum, right? We
Yeah.
want a bare minimum with where we want to be. So we're going to try and get to that
And,
and then blow it out of the water by Tuesday. So today's Thursday. You guys can get on it. Get
what
up
I
there.
want is like, it doesn't replace any of the stuff that's out now. It's not trying to, but I want when you get it, I want you to feel like it's nostalgia for something you never knew existed. You're just like, gets into the whole Mandela effect joke.
I kind of feel like it's sort of like what Marvel did with the introduction of the Sentry, except that you're letting people in on it, right?
Yeah.
It's not that we just discovered this thing. You're letting people in on what it is, so that nobody feels duped or like they got taken to the cleaners. Wait a minute, this wasn't really from the '80s. Um, while we're talking about the '80s, I do have to ask real quick and see if you had the same, if it chapped you the same way it did me, right? The action figure, the franchise Mask. Why in the world were those not 3 3/4 figures so all those cool vehicles would work with my GI Joes?
I know, man. It's because they didn't understand what they were building back then. Like they didn't know the impression they were making on it. Now they're trying. That's what's so funny is now they're trying to do it. Like they keep trying to fit Mask in with Joe. And I saw there's like a little cameo in one of the recent issues. I'm a little behind on that, but it's like, yeah, they just. It's because the whole point was the vehicles. They didn't want to spend the money on the toys. I'm gonna guess.
I mean, had they made those
Yeah.
sized for a 3 3/4 inch action figure, I would have bought every vehicle they had.
I know they could have made our moms and dads spend even more money on the vehicles.
So much
They
because
must
they
have
were
been
so
worried
cool.
about the vehicles costing too much to have the playability that they wanted, and the figures for them were just like an afterthought. But they didn't understand at the time like how much we cared about the story
Uh huh.
behind these characters.
Yeah.
I think it was. I got to know a lot of those like TV show writers and stuff from back then, and it was moving so fast back then. They were just like 20-something, 30-year-old guys and girls just running around, just taking voice acting gigs and writing scripts. And if you lived in LA, you would just drive around from studio to studio.
Hopped
And
up on cocaine,
that definitely happened. There's
smoking
still,
Marlboros. We know how it went.
I've heard fun stories of, I can't validate it, but I heard fun stories of like Chris Latta, the voice of Cobra Commander, getting bailed out of the jail in the mornings, picked up by one of the main writers driving to the studio to go finish recording stuff.
Oh no.
But I mean, because when they greenlit a new series, it was like 60 episodes a season.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So there was just work to be had. And if you just threw yourself in the middle of it, you're going to find something.
Yeah.
I met Michael C. Hill, who wrote Cold Slither episode and song. So,
Yeah.
And he was telling some fun stories about that. But yeah, Buzz Dixon and Flint Dille and the whole Sunbow crew.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
But yeah,
So jumping back real quick to Disavowed, because that's really I'm interested in that a lot because that's coming up and it's something I can look forward to. That's being published by Massive.
Yeah, it's a partnership with Massive Publishing. So it's the first book I've gone to as a creator in 20 years since we left Image Comics in I think it was January of 2004 is when Devil's Due had been existing separately, but yeah, so it's been over 20 years. So I've been trying to transition out of publishing for a while now. I'm just not very successful at it because every time I really got serious about it, the industry's kind of disrupted somehow. Like I was kind of thinking about it around 2020 when COVID hit, and then because we had done a partnership with First Comics, but we were both equally co-publishers. And then I've been really enjoying focusing directly to the fan crowdfunding style of release, and then pairing that with release to the stores, and then it allows me to build up a higher volume of stuff as an indie creator that I can continue to get out. But I still want that like bigger presence of the publishing. But I've been there and done it as a publisher where we've had all these huge licenses and huge staff, and you're just trying, you're just trying to stay on the charts and all that. I just haven't wanted to do that for a long time. And
It seems exhausting.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm not someone who just liked comics and decided how can I get in and decided, oh, let's publish. I was obsessed with being a artist and a writer as a kid, and that's why I started publishing, because I couldn't wait for anyone to hire me. Um, and that's kind of like what I would love to spend the next couple decades focusing on. But once you have your autonomy and you can release stuff and you know how to do everything, it's really hard to it seems silly to just not have those accounts and to not be able to distribute your own stuff. So the Disavowed was the first project I signed with, and then all the upheavals happened in the last year, right after we announced, with distribution and all that stuff. So yeah, but now we're ready to go, and we're here. All of a sudden, after waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, it's like, hey, next week, let's go. Which means there will be the store release dates being announced very soon too. So, and as I don't know what details they want to share or not, but I could say it's a mini series to start. I'm hoping that the numbers come in where we're right away. What I would love to do is just say mini series is continuing. It's going to go, issue 4 is going to go to issue 5, is going to go to issue 6.
It'd be like Transformers was back in the day, right?
Yeah, actually, I always forget when we launched GI Joe through Image. They made me they made us do it bi-monthly at first because they didn't trust that we were going to get it out on time. I think there's a little bit of projection there. And then
yeah, pot kettle.
And then I think it was a mini series, and then we announced, okay, it's going to be ongoing, and then it went on for 7 years. So
that was freaking great. God, I loved it. I was so glad because at that point it had been a few years since Marvel had lost the license or had the book had gone away, and my first reaction when I heard somebody had gotten the license and was coming back out with GI Joe was like, oh no, what are they going to do to GI Joe? Oh my God, this is going to be bad. And then you got it, and it was clear that you weren't there to mess it up. You knew what you were talking about. You knew the characters. You knew their stories, and you told new stories and went new directions. But you kept the characters very grounded in who they were, and some awesome stuff that came out of that people just assume has always been there. For me, I think one of them was the relationship between CoverGirl and Shipwreck. That wasn't really a big deal anywhere else, but it kind of happened there. Maybe I'm misremembering it.
I think it was inspired by the cartoon a little bit, but
I mean, it was kind of there, but not huge, right?
Yeah.
And that became a thing that people are rooting for those two. Yeah, this is great. We got to go for that. Those guys are great. But you were really true to who the characters were, and you told new kinds of stories, and I thought it was great. I was really, really happy that if it went somewhere, it went to somebody who respected it, not like these people who make movies and they're like, okay, we're going to make a movie. It's going to be called G.I. Joe. It's going to have characters with these names. Okay, that's the extent of the similarity. Got it. All right, thanks.
Yeah, there's a weird. It's kind of funny because it's with all the any movie, any comic book adaptation or whatever, any movie, it seems like I think what people miss is it doesn't really matter if a new audience knows the characters or not. The reason why it's a thing is because there was something about those characters that did resonate.
Yep.
And even if it continues to resonate with new humans.
Yes.
When you change it, well, you just made it something else. So when it doesn't work, it's like, well, what did you expect? And it's kind of the same reason, why if something is a hit comic that sells 5,000 copies and people are showing up in cosplay for the characters at cons, even though it's only selling 5,000 copies, well, it's probably scalable. And if you change the things that's making those people show up and be excited about it at a small scale, it's probably not going to work. And that also means you could probably blow it up and, it'll be just as effective. So,
Well,
yeah.
now that Mike Weslowski's here, is you have to give an update on all things Mercy Sparks.
All right. Hell yeah.
He must
I
know.
actually just sending, I, I'm taking time away from finishing the production on Daddy Issues #1 to do these interviews today. No,
Which we greatly appreciate.
the
I
new
mean, Mike
miniseries,
might not, but I do.
the new miniseries Daddy Issues is three-parter. The first issue is done, other than like the back end production stuff, getting sent off to the printer, and then that deals with so the whole Blast omnibus in issue 14, that all wrapped up the big epic, which dealt with all these consequences the last several years from her mother causing havoc on Earth, and then she kind of ghosted everybody for 5 years and came back in the one shot, No More Angels Left to Fall. And now I'm going to get into dealing with like her, like Daddy Issues is partially a joke, but also deals with like her two father figures from her background. So anybody
Well,
doesn't know Mercy,
the
she's a
minute
devil girl that
it,
hunts down rogue angels for heaven. She does heaven's dirty work.
the minute you said Daddy Issues, so many things clicked into place as far as the storytelling goes. It's brilliant. It's great. uh, but yeah, Mike Weslowski is a huge fan of Mercy Sparks. I know he's met you at cons and he's gotten you to draw things for him and such. Uh, he actually brought back a copy of Disavowed from a con. I want to say in Phoenix or something that you were at for me. So, because I told him, I said,
Probably Tucson. Yeah.
Tucson, yeah. But I was like, yeah, if you see him, get me one of those. And he's like, oh, I'll see him.
Talk about a great Comic-Con.
Yeah.
The Politos, their show, Tucson Comic-Con is fantastic.
Brian Polito hit at the perfect time with the perfect product, right? And he hit it. He came out with it. He came out with it hard, unapologetic, and he has been giving folks exactly what they want for 30 plus years now. And he is rocking it, and he is beholden to no man. I mean, he doesn't have to ask anybody permission. He doesn't have to go and get it. He just does what he wants, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and him and his wife Francesca really are like a power couple together. Like with the way the business is run, the way it's so methodical, it's like they have this like rock and roll aesthetic, and the vibe and everything is so fun. And on the business side, it is like 100% methodical, military. It's like military, like
Yeah,
in a good way. Like they've got their systems down, and they just know how to deliver. And then
precise and efficient, right?
that's why the Comic-Con
Yeah.
is so good. It's so well organized, and he has a knack on how to tell you something like very firmly in a nice way, but like so that there's no confusion. Like there's no, well, he has no problem saying no, but in a nice way. And so like, the first time they invited me to their con, they said, well, I can't invite you right now because when we bring you out, we want you to be a proper guest, but also like it'll be next year. And then they did invite me out, and they said, okay, well, we don't really bring people back the next year. It'll be 2 years from now if we want to do it again, blah, blah, blah. Like, but the way it's delivered is like, so like no nonsense and well thought out. And then everyone can just have a good time.
That's awesome.
And the con is like all bright yellow and blue and family friendly colors. It's just complete, different aesthetic.
It's exactly what you think of when you think of Lady Death and Evil Ernie, right?
Yeah.
Bright and blue. Nate Saint, good to see you, brother. You're going to want to go back and make sure you catch the earlier part of this because we've been talking G.I. Joe with Josh Blaylock for a good while now. So you're going to want to make sure you go back and catch that because it's awesome. Also, jump over here to disavowedcomic.com, which will take you straight to where you can pre-register for the Disavowed, which you most definitely are going to want to do. I've read the ash can for this book. It is fantastic. Nate, particularly, I think you would love it. Really, really good stuff. I know we're butting up on the hour here. We just hit it. so I don't want to keep you. I know you got a lot of things going on, and you got Mercy Sparks to write. Um, but anything you want to say with share with folks before you jump off, or if you want to hang out longer, you certainly can. But
Um, I do need to get going, but I'd say, yeah, please just check out the pre-launch page if anybody missed that. We're really trying to get the numbers up as high as we can for that launch on Tuesday. The first day is, so important for all the campaigns. And this is a special pilot edition that will be different than what's in the stores. And also, I think Massive is very good about being conscientious on making sure the stores are getting something really unique at the same time, but in a way that everybody feels good. So,
is there a retailer level on the Kickstarter?
um,
And if there's
I'll have
not,
to
go
double check.
elbow somebody and make them have one.
Yeah, I know there's retailer levels definitely available with an email, but you're right. I have to make sure they have that on the Kickstarter. So, yeah, and with that, I can just forward your email over to Michael Calero.
Yeah, please do, because I'm certainly going to be getting quite a few copies.
I could tell you a little more off the air.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Uh, but yeah, jump over there, everybody. If you haven't done it yet, disavowedcomic.com, pre-register for it. One of the things we tell folks all the time, and I'm going to repeat it again because good things bear repeating. If you like good comics and you like the folks who make comics, if you want them to keep making comics, you have to support them. You've got to. They have to be able to eat and take care of their families and do all those things. They can't just make comics for free or in a vacuum. So you got to support them. Josh Blaylock has been making awesome comics for 30 freaking years now, and he's been a great friend to Haven. He's been on here multiple times. He was on here during the pandemic. We did a stay-at-home convention since nobody could get out and do things. And you came on. I think we talked for like 3 hours, man. I don't know if you remember that. Uh, it was a long time.
It's a little bit of a blur, but yeah.
But we were riffing on all kinds of stuff, prehistoric Mayan civilizations and all kind of stuff. It was great.
Once I get into that stuff, I just disassociate from my body, and I just.
I do too, and it's clear we read a lot of the same stuff. But if you like this kind of stuff and you like the guys who create this stuff, you got to support them. So go over there, pre-register. Back the Kickstarter. We'll carry copies at Haven, but don't let that stop you. Back the Kickstarter. There, help support him directly, and that way we'll have more books. He'll be able to make more books and keep it coming. So, really appreciate you jumping on and joining us, man. Thank you so much. Always great to see you. And I'm not kidding. We think of you very much as a friend of the store, a friend of retailers in general. So thanks, man. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to the Disavowed.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, you have a great night, man. All right, so that was awesome. Yes, keep Mercy Sparks coming. Yes, there is more coming. All right, so that literally came about at the last minute today. Being able to have Josh Blaylock on the show, was not planning on that at all. Wasn't expecting that at all. But great timing, and he just came off of another show right before he jumped on here, and he's probably got to jump to another one because he's staying busy. But yeah, get over there and take a look at, if you like the 80s in general, if you like Predator, Commando, G.I. Joe, all that stuff, this book, The Disavowed, is like that on steroids, or on cocaine. It was the 80s, What I think about Snyder's comments on comics needing to move to monthly installments. I've read a couple of things, but I'm not sure what this particular comment is about. What do you mean by monthly installments? Do you mean like the story only is, each issue is a story in and of itself as opposed to part of a 6-story arc? I couldn't agree more with that. Oh, thank you, Kaylisa. Appreciate it. It's always nice to have you on when we're doing this stuff. But while, since he's gone, and we'll run for a little bit longer, seeing as how we don't have Alan, and that's sad. It's the power of Haven Comics industry giants coming, Josh Cross. Oh, how I wish that were true. For anybody who missed it earlier, I'm going to do it again because I'm very excited about it. But last Friday, GI Joe Haven Comics was announced as the #1 craft and hobby store in the state of Alabama. That's a fan nominated, fan voted award. There were 4 other companies nominated, or all of them were comic book or hobby shops, collectible shops. Every last one of them across the state. And thanks to you guys, Haven was voted #1. So that is awesome. Here's my disembodied hand with a thumbs up. That is kind of weird looking. It looks like it comes out of nowhere. It's just like, boo. It doesn't look like it's attached to me. But anyway, thank you guys. 100% the reason why we're not the biggest. We don't have the most inventory, but we have the best community, bar none. You guys are awesome. So thank you all for that. We really, really do appreciate that. Well, this I can absolutely agree with 100%. Weekly books are miserable. Nobody wants them. Retailers have to commit to buying them before we have any, like, follow-on issues, before we have any idea whether the first one was any good. And just getting piecemeal stories sucks. And especially since they're all designed to be 6-issue story arcs instead of uh, letting them be the size that they need to be. Some stories are 3 issues, some stories are 5, some might be 10. But having all of them 6-issue story arcs is nonsensical to me. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I would agree with that premise very much so. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. We do appreciate it. Was the entire, yes, it was the state of Alabama. It was for the entire state of Alabama. 100%. We are located on the border of Huntsville and Madison, Alabama, on Slaughter Road, uh, right near the corner of Slaughter Road and University Drive, or also known as Highway 72. We're just right there, just south of that intersection. Be happy to see you over there and see what we can do to help you out with Deceased and Blood Hunt and all those books that you're looking for. Devil's Reign. Devil's Reign was great. But yeah, appreciate that. Let's see. And he had to point out propping. It's true. It's very true. It needs to be. There needs to be something done because the era of everything is a 6-issue story arc makes no sense. It's just not right. That's right, near the Kroger. That's right. We're right there. But since we did promise to talk a little bit about some comics, I had a really light week this past week, which is unusual because the past 3 or 4 weeks, my comic book stack has been this thick every single week. No lie. It's just been insane. But I had a few things come in this week, so I'm going to share those with you. One of those, I know Nate Saint will appreciate. Some of you might appreciate. This just came back from CGC. This is the Mark Spears Monsters #4. The variant cover. It's a metal cover. And this was the Huntsville Expo exclusive. See if I can't find an angle that does not just isn't terribly offensive with the light, because that reflection is really bad. I guess that's probably about the best angle there. But it came back a 9.8. You can see it signed by Mark Spears. One of my favorite touches is the Expo logo right there in that bottom corner, and it says Huntsville, Alabama, or shipped to Alabama. But yeah, that's a beautiful book, and I just got that back from CGC 2 days ago. The package came in and my wife didn't tell me about it, so I just walked in the house one day and I'm like, "What's that?" She's like, "I don't know, something for you." And I'm like, "Okay." So I popped it open, having no idea what it was, and that was a pretty nice get. Beautiful book, signed by Mark. But boy, that glare is killer. But anyway, that's a fantastic book. Mike, did you send one of these off to get graded too? Because that metal cover is pretty sweet. I really, really dig it. So I was very excited about that. Let's see, what else did I read this week? Um, for Jollies, and I'll explain a little bit of why this was so frustrating. Um, Nate saying, buddy, you are preaching to the choir. And let me show you one of the reasons why. This is the metal cover, the regular metal cover of Mark Spears Monsters #4 that we got at the store a month ago. This is what it came like. I don't even know how you do that. How do you do that to a metal cover? It was the only thing damaged in the whole shipment. So how in the world did that happen? That makes no sense. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You didn't see that? But hey, what? We have a Bianca in the house. Bianca! Ah. We miss you, Bianca. We hope everything is going well. Um, yeah, you didn't see that metal cover. Brother, you missed out. However, I know this guy named Mark Spears, and I bet he would be happy to hook you up. Uh, yeah, Mike says, greetings, Bianca. Awesome. Let's see. CGC's been killing it on grades. Woo! 23 out of 25 came back 9.8s. Holy smokes. That's amazing. Uh, Hi, Bianca. Yeah, see, Bianca, you are extremely popular with the Haven folks, uh, which is as it should be. It's great. Um, but yeah, you saw what they did to my cover. That's how it came, and of course, they don't have any replacements. Yeah, I know a guy. I know a guy. It's pretty good. But Bianca, what are you up to? Share. Did you get to stay at home for more than 6 hours in the past month? You know, stuff like that. We care. Um, But the latest issue of Mark Spears Monsters, there are several um, copies. There are several covers, of course. But this cover comes polybagged with it's a New Mutants '98 homage cover, right? And you see it's got a trading card. That one's got the Slayer. This one has the Golden Man. And this one has some kind of weird robot with 3 heads. I'm not sure what's going on there. Um, Now, we got 4, there were 4 cards, and there's also the vampire lady that's the Asian, she's got the hat and all that. Um, we got 30 copies of this book. Of the 30 copies that we received, 25 of them had the same card. So I messaged Mark Spears and I said, what gives? What's the crumple special? That's right. That's right. We'll put it on sale. As you know, we can make that like the girlfriend cover for Amazing Spider-Man 14, right? Uh, oh, see, you didn't realize, Daniel. Yes, there's supposed to be 4 different cards. Now we got of the 30 copies we ordered, we got 25 copies that had the same card. So I messaged Mark and I said, "Hey man, what gives? What's the distribution of these cards?" And they all have the exact same number printed of cards, except for this one, which has half the number. But yet somehow the distribution center just picked up 25 copies of the same one and sent them to us. So when I talked to Mark, he's like, "I got plenty of copies. I'll come in and I'll trade out some so that you've got a more equitable distribution." So I said that would be awesome. So Mark is a great guy. Um, and he's willing to help us out with that a little bit. Um, the interesting thing, the good thing, you notice it's kind of weird, and I asked him about this too. I said, "What's up with the cards facing out so you can see what you got?" I thought part of the allure was that you had the cards facing in, so you don't know which cards you're going to get. And he said, no, we did that on purpose because each card is numbered X of Y on the back, right? So this one might be number one of 1,958 or however many there were printed. It could be like that. So it's number X of Y sequentially. So each one is unique. You know which one you got. And so you can judge. I'm sure there will be a totally a secondary market thing of people wanting the number one copy for each one or whatever, because that tends to happen with numbered things. So get your Mark Spears copy number 5. If you've got the same card and you want other cards, um, I apologize that we didn't have any distribution of that. We had no control over it. They just came in wonky that way. So you'll want to do that, and you'll want to get that book because it's awesome. Also, that cover's great. Um, Silver Surfer, Death of the Silver Surfer #1. I love this cover. It's so minimalist. It's so evocative. It's so poignant. It's got a lot of uh, emotion going on there, a lot of thought. And then this issue itself is fantastic. And y'all all know I'm always been raised more of a Marvel guy, and of late I've been leaning more towards DC books because they've just been better quality. And this book introduces a new character, and there for a minute I thought I was reading a DC book, and I say that as an absolute compliment to the way that this book was. This is a fantastic book. It makes you think. Um, it it tells a story. It's not preachy or intrusive, and yet it's timely. Really, really interesting book, and the artwork is exquisite. This cover is just phenomenal. On the whole, great book. You've heard Alan and I talking about this book since it first started, Aquaman, which was not something I ever thought I'd be excited about, but this book is fantastic, and it continues to be great. Things just keep happening. You're learning new things. He's learning new things. This continues to be a really, really, really solid book. So I think after the next issue, maybe after this issue, there should be a trade coming up soon. If you haven't read the issues, you should pick that up. It's a really, really solid book. Now this one, Absolute Batman #9. I don't know what to tell you guys. This is amazing. Holy smokes, this is amazing. What an incredible book. And you think that Bane looks like he's huge when he's all juiced up? In this picture here, he is not juiced up. I will open up to a page to show you because it's concerning. Um, how big he gets. Um, you see how huge he is and how tiny Batman is? And the Batman of this world is enormous. I mean, look at that. That's him juiced up. Holy smokes. But this issue, this particular issue, Nate, is so good. Really, really good. You're starting to see some of the kind of underlying meta plot stuff that's happening in the world, and yeah, it's dark, it's disturbing, it's fantastic. Um, from the same guys who uh, brought us Cruel Universe and Cruel Kingdoms and Epitaphs from the Abyss, we have Blood Type #1. Shocker, it's about vampires. Never would have figured. But if you enjoyed those other books, you'll enjoy that. Crypto seems upset about him. You're not wrong. You're absolutely right. Uh, Crypto was very unhappy with that turn of events. Um, Dark Patterns, uh, Batman Dark Patterns number 7. I cannot emphasize enough how good this series has been. It's 3-issue stories. Each story spans 3 issues. This is currently supposed to go on for 12 issues. I hope they keep it going because every single one of them has been great. They really focus on Batman more as the detective and less as just a superhero guy with fancy gadgets. He's got to figure stuff out. And I'm really appreciating that. I'm really enjoying that. This is part 1 of a new story arc. You don't have to know anything from previous issues. They're not connected at all. There's not any big thread that's drawing from one to the other than good quality and actual detective stories. So if you want to try this out, you can start at this issue, and you won't have missed anything. I haven't had a chance to read this one yet, but One World Under Doom wraps up in this issue, so we'll see how that turns out. I'm really curious to see what the end effect of this is and how they managed to shut it all down, how they managed to put things right. It should be interesting. Oh wait, no, this is going. There's another issue. I thought it was 5 issues. It's a 6-issue limited series, so not quite to the end yet. I will say this cover I find completely disturbing. Doctor Doom just stretching Reed Richards like crazy. That's disturbing to me. I mean, it's totally awesome. I'm absolutely going to read it, but not sure about that. I loved Gotham Central. Man, Gotham Central was so good. And that's what I was hoping that the TV show Gotham would be. I was really hoping that would be a Gotham Central kind of a story. And I wish that it had been. It very quickly became a weird villain of the week kind of a show, which was unfortunate. Let's see. Well, there is no reading order. Those are totally disconnected books that have nothing to do with each other. So it doesn't really matter what order you read them in. They're all kind of limited to their own universes. So they're good. And y'all are getting me on a day I haven't had a lot of time to read, but Trinity, Tom King's Trinity from Wonder Woman. She got her own book now, and this is the first issue. I have not had a chance to read it yet. But if it follows in the footsteps of what Tom King has been doing on Wonder Woman, his Wonder Woman book has been stupendous. And as I'm flipping through this now, Kaylisa, I think you're going to want to read this. Look at this. It's a little super corgi. And also the little kid dressed as Robin. I wish that would go into focus. There we go. It's just adorable. This book is going to be great. That's going to be a fun read. And Geiger just had the big face off with Ashley Arden, and he's been led to believe that his family is around and he, that they survived and all these things. I don't know that that's true. I don't see how it could be. But Geiger continues to be awesome. And what a cover. That's a great cover. So get out there. If you're not reading Geiger, you should read Geiger. You should definitely be reading Redcoat. If you haven't read Rook Exodus yet, that 6-issue story wrapped up. The trade is now, if it's not available now, it's available like in the next week or two. And then they're going to be coming out with issue number 7 on that here before long. Phenomenal story. Hyde Street, of course, is fantastic. You can't go wrong with any of these books. It's the Ghost Machine guys have been doing a phenomenal job. A couple last things before we wrap up and let you guys get out of here. This week we have a book coming out. It's the facsimile edition of Adventure Comics number 210, which is the first appearance of Crypto. And if you're asking yourself, why is that important? I will tell you because two reasons. One, tucked away in two copies of this book, out of however many thousands they print, tucked away in two copies are golden tickets, not unlike uh, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory golden tickets to go to Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory. And these golden tickets are for you to attend the Los Angeles premiere of the Superman movie with the cast and crew on July 11th. So come out to Haven, buy a copy, buy two copies, buy five copies, buy 10 copies, however many copies you want to take a flyer on to see if you get the golden ticket. And that'll be great. And since chances of you wanting to actually keep 5 or 10 copies of that book after you open it and see if you got the golden ticket are pretty low, we are going to be donating all the extra copies to Kids to Love, the organization here that supports foster kids. They build these backpacks for kids so that when a foster kid comes into the system and they've got to go someplace, they don't have anything most of the time. They don't have any possessions. So they have these backpacks which they lay out for them that have things like a toothbrush and a comb or a brush and a change of clothes or whatever, but a couple of other things too. And we're going to donate copies of this book so that they can put them into those backpacks as one of the items to give to these kids. It's totally good for all ages kind of thing. And if they want to do that, then they have that opportunity. So we're going to make that something that we do with these excess books so they don't just go to waste. And that's a great thing to do. So come out, buy some copies, see if you win a trip to California. And if you win the trip and it's good for 2 tickets or whatever, and you need to take somebody with you, I know a guy who would love to go to the Los Angeles premiere of the Superman movie. Just saying. And the last thing I wanted to talk about this week, apologies for this, but I have these massive rows of Sharon bushes blooming in my backyard, and they are killing my allergies this week. Just something fierce. Anyway, last thing I wanted to talk about is next Saturday, June 21st, 6 copies of Crypto. You got it. Donate the ticket to the store when you find it. Are you kidding me? Dude, you are the man. That's incredible. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. Next Saturday, June 21st, is free RPG day. So if you like role playing games, or if you've been curious about role playing games and you've never played one, we're going to have several games running during the day up at the shop. You can come in and play. We'll have one session with multiple games that starts at 10 o'clock. We'll have another session with multiple games that starts at 2 o'clock. It ends at 6 o'clock. And we will also have the Zesto AF food truck out there at the shop that Saturday. So come by, pick up some comics, play some role-playing games, pick up a dip dog or a turtle burger. They've got some new stuff. Their new truck is awesome, and they cook things real fast these days. But you can pick up, they do these fried Oreos, which are remarkably delicious. Yeah, fantastic stuff. So come out, play some games, have a great time, pick up some free RPG Day stuff. And that is next Saturday, June 21st. So we'll end it a little bit early tonight, but that is it for me. I'm sure Alan is just resenting his life at the beach. And again, thank you to everybody whoever nominated us, to all the people who voted for us for making Haven #1 in the state of Alabama. That's a surreal kind of a thing, but we surely do appreciate it. And you guys are awesome. We have the best community anybody could ever ask for. So we really do appreciate it. Thank you guys. If you have a live stream on June 22nd, we do not have one on June 22nd. We have one on June, is it 19th or 20th? It's Thursday night. I know June 22nd is what, a Sunday? Yeah, we have one on the 19th. So So that's our next live stream is next week on the 19th. In any case, thank you guys so much. You guys have an awesome night, and we will catch you guys next time because you're awesome and you keep showing back up, and we really do appreciate that. So thanks, y'all.